questions from the general audience if you have them. If you have a bit of time. Laura.
I find project conversion an interesting choice of words, because when you think of conversion, you think you're going to be converting to another religion.
Sure.
But actually what I got from your conversion is that you converted from hatred to understanding.
Wow, you got deep.
So, you know, that to me it's more like it's sort of like a project communication or project connection, but because of what you did personally, the project conversion I think works.
That's exactly what people were having a hard time with in the beginning. They said, you can't convert to different faiths. Just watch. And that's exactly what it was. It was a conversion from my personal hatred into love and understanding. And so it's one of those things, I guess you have to wait till the end till you get it. So, but I appreciate you seeing it. Thanks.
Yes.
I have a question. You said you're not a particular faith right now, and that you don't plan on it. But I was wondering if during this experience there were any remarkable similarities between all the faiths that maybe you practice as a lifestyle, or if there are any aspects of those different religions that you incorporate into your life now.
Okay. There is one common thread that is pervasive through all faiths, and it's this: don't kill people. I think that's a pretty good lifestyle. Everything else is kind of in the details. All religions have this ideal of compassion and brotherhood. It's what we have a hard time with, and what we get wrapped up about is the competing theologies behind them, especially with faiths that are a little more evangelistic, trying to convert, things like that. And there's a tendency to butt heads with those personalities. But yes, if I had to give one common thread that we could all live by, and I try to live by it, it's that compassion and understanding.
Well, obviously this was a process that worked for you, and it sounds like you came to a peace about it. But I was wondering if it's something, as something that's so intense and kind of time-consuming, if it's something that you would recommend to other people, or what parts of it you would hope to impart? Outside of just the message, what parts of the experience would you recommend to others?
Okay. The punishment has to fit the crime. Okay. My personal hatred was so intense that I had to do something to meet it. It was this. Some people might not have that problem. I pray that they don't. It might be something where you might have this prejudice against something, or a different theological standing, or even political, and you just don't want that anymore. You just want to find out more. How about go hang out with someone who belongs to that? If you're a Christian that happens to have a problem with Muslims, go to a Jummah service, go to Friday prayers. Just hang out with them. They'll welcome you there. And then you'll leave. It's not about agreeing with these people. Okay? It's not about necessarily agreeing with these folks' thing. It's about respecting their humanity and their right to think that way. And then trying to come together with these thoughts and come to a consensus on, okay, we may have different points of view, but we can agree that we want our communities to be a little healthier. So what can you bring from your side of the table? What can I bring from mine? And combine them in order to fulfill that.
I think you were next. I'm sorry.
What spurred your hatred? What caused it? Why would you have that hate?
As I alluded to, when I lost my faith in college and I left my Christianity, I guess it created a void, right? There was just nothing. I had made Christianity such a huge part of my life that when it left, it created a vacuum. And so when we had our tragedy in 2008, the hatred swelled up and filled that void. And it had to consume something, just like a fire. So the only thing I could pick on was my wife. I mean, there were many times, in our house was like walking on glass. I had her crying countless nights because all I wanted to do was badger her faith. And all she wanted to do was have peace. And I just wouldn't have it because of how she was trying to get there. So it's hatred is just, it's a cancer. It really is. And it's nothing that I consciously grew on my own. I didn't nurture it like a garden. I just didn't do anything about it to control it. So
What was your most humbling moment?
the first day, realizing, crap, I'm in this. There's no way out. It was very similar to my first day of boot camp. I'm in this. There's no way out. There's no going back. You know, there was no way that I could start this process and turn my back on it, because it would just be 10 times worse.
I couldn't tell for sure from what you said if after doing all of this you actually believe in some sort of divinity. And it's kind of a two-part question, I guess, but your answer to that I'll...
Okay.
What's the question?
So it's a mystery. Question is, do I have a belief in a divinity or right? And then the next question is kind of piggybacked on that. The best way I can describe it is I don't have belief. I participate. And this is why. My wife, if I'm with her, I'm not thinking about her. I'm participating with her. One of the qualifications of a divine presence is that they are omnipresent. They are everywhere. I don't have to think about God. And I don't. I simply participate in humanity and the creation around me. So what's the next part?
That pretty much answered it.
Oh, I took care of it. Yes.
The topic of materialism.
Okay.
Is there something that weaves itself through all the religions, or is there more than one way to view materialism?
I don't get into universalist conversations because then that starts to dilute belief, and I'm just not into watering down someone's faith just to make everybody comfortable. Materialism is one of those things where balance has to be achieved, and you'll find that within all faiths. Particularly within religions that have monastic tendencies, they go to the far end of the spectrum in renouncing that materialism because they're saying basically to the lay population, it's not as important as you think. But I think what we can take from those monastic traditions is that there's balance there. It's the, as the Eastern faith in more particular would tell you, it's the attachment to this material that's the problem. It's not the actual accumulation of it. And yes, I think that is a common thread that we see throughout all of these faiths, not to place too much stock into what is right here, the stuff that we touch, because it's transitory, like the Buddha said, right? And we see that also with Catholic monks who give up everything, extreme poverty, in order to serve others.
We have time for a few more. I think the madam in the purple and the pink both have their hands raised, but I'll let you duke it out there.
I was going to ask you, because you said communication is the most important thing in the understanding of other religions. How would you talk to that teenager you were about this communication?
Honestly, if I saw myself, I'd beat him into the ground. That is the only person I hate. It's myself way back then. You know, I would just have a serious talk with that guy. Why do you hate? You know, what would happen if you took that fuel away? Do you need it? Hatred is an attachment too. It's a coping mechanism, right? It's a defense mechanism against something that you don't think you have control over. It's the Buddha said that when we hate someone, it's like holding a hot iron ball ready to throw at someone. But what's happening in the meantime? You're burning yourself, right? And Jesus took it a little bit further. What greater love do we have than to die for our friend? I mean, you think about that. Would you die for your friend right on the spot? And this guy apparently did. So yeah, I would beat him up first, and then we'd have a heart to heart.
You've got to get his attention.
Exactly. You know, because I was mouthy. Kind of like that.
I think I saw Anne.
This might be a super obvious question, but would you consider yourself a pacifist now entirely, and would you participate in anti-violence campaigns and that sort of thing?
Okay. I like how the Muslims deal with this. It's with jihad, especially my understanding, and Nash can help me with this if I stray too much or if I'm too rigid. it's a defensive. Violence and any type of, it says in the Quran that God hates the aggressor. So I think that we do have a right to defend ourselves up to the point where the oppressor stops. So, yes, fight violence, oppose it peaceably as much as you can. But when it becomes evident that there is no other choice, this enemy of yours is adamant on killing you or your family, you've got to meet that force until it stops. That's my personal view. Did I hit that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, after doing this project, are there any faiths that you didn't get to experience that you're curious about, and maybe you would want to go and hang out with those people? Not necessarily do the same sort of rigorous thing, but...
No, because I'd end up in a divorce. Serious. Yeah, they would... You think I'm kidding, she's right there, you can ask. Yeah, there were a lot of faiths that I couldn't do. I mean, obviously there are more than 12 different spiritual religious systems. And yeah, here, now that I have a little bit more time, I do go off on these little paths that stray here and there. Right now, I'm kind of jiving on Taoism and some Native American stuff, just because I'm half Lumbee. We've got a powwow coming up, so it's a perfect opportunity. But it's a continual, Project Conversion didn't end on December 31st. That conversion is continual. The Catholics have that concept of a daily conversion, a daily reawakening and changing. And I will be a student of people and their faiths for the rest of my life.